Hi everyone, and welcome back to the MFT YouTube channel. It's Karolyn here, and I'm dropping by today to share another video tutorial for creating an interactive card that I'm calling a pendulum card. As I tilt my card from side to side, this cute doggy's head rocks with the movement, which really brings him to life. So let's get started. To create my project, I'm using two of the images and one of the sentiments from the Doggone Awesome stamp set, as well as the coordinating dies, the Happy Greetings Die-namics, the Band-Aids Die-namics, the Celebratory Confetti Die-namics, the Single Stitch Line Tag Corner Rectangle Frames Die-namics, and the A2 Stitched Rectangle STAX Set 2 Die-namics. I'm also using the Mini Cloud Edges stencil. I'll be using some smooth white and Limelight cardstock, as well as the Red Hearts pattern from the Tiny Hearts 6x6 paper pack. And lastly, I'll be using one of the slider discs for the pendulum mechanism. I'm starting off by stamping one of the puppies and the bone from the Doggone Awesome stamp set onto some Copic-friendly white cardstock using black licorice ink. I actually stamped the puppy twice, and then with a bit of maneuvering, stamp only his head. I'm using my retractable craft knife to wipe away the ink that ended up in areas that I don't want to stamp. It's a bit tedious, but well worth the effort. If you're averse to using a craft knife on your stamps, you can stamp the image with the excess ink and just cut it away with your scissors. I just wanted a clean image so that when I fussy cut the head out, I won't have to block out any ink that may appear in areas that I don't want it to. Then I'll die cut both the dog's head and one of the full body dog images using the coordinating dies and use my detail scissors to cut out the dog's snout all off camera. And in an effort to save time and focus mostly on the pendulum mechanism, I've colored my images off camera with my Copic markers. Now I'm using my detail scissors to fussy cut the dog head to give it the white border all the way around the image. I think this gives a cohesive look to the dog's head, and I think you'll see why as we get further into the building of the pendulum mechanism. Next, I'm adhering the snout image to the dog head with a foam square for some fun selective dimension. And then I'm using my detail scissors again to cut off the ears and the border around the upper portion of the dog's head. I promise this will all make sense when we assemble our pendulum. I used the smallest of the two Band-Aids from the Band-Aid Die-namics to die cut a lever for our pendulum. It was the perfect size for what I needed, which reminds me to mention that you should always browse your stash for those little dies that can be used for something other than what they were intended. The lever's hidden, so it didn't matter what I used to make it, but the Band-Aid dies were the perfect solution. Next, you'll see that I've adhered one of the slider discs to the top of the Band-Aid die cut using some strong liquid adhesive. I'm holding it in place just to make sure it's good and stuck. Then I've added a large glue dot to the back of a penny, and I'll adhere that to the other side of the lever. The penny is the perfect size and weight to give our puppy's head some movement. I'm using one of the small circle dies from the Celebratory Confetti Die-namics to die cut a hole in the dog's head. If you don't have the Celebratory Confetti Die-namics, you could use a 1/4-inch hole punch for this instead. Next, I die cut a frame from smooth white cardstock using the Single Stitch Line Tag Corner Rectangle Frame Die-namics. Try saying that 5 times fast. And then I'm temporarily adhering the negative of the frame onto another smooth white panel that I die cut using the A2 Stitched Rectangle STAX Set 2 Die-namics. I'll use the negative as a guide to place post-it masking tape around the perimeter of the frame for some ink blending. I've placed another piece of masking tape towards the bottom of the frame, and I'll use some Twisted Citron Distress ink and my mini ink blending tool to lightly blend an implied grassy area. Next, I'm using the Mini Cloud Edges stencil and some Tumble Glass Distress ink to lightly blend a cloudy sky. I'm just shifting the stencil from edge to edge to get a nice lightly blended background for our active puppy. And then I'll carefully remove the post-it tape to reveal the full ink blended background. I die cut the word happy 3 times from some smooth white cardstock, and I've adhered them together with a glue pen. I die cut the word again from poppy, orange zest, lemon drop, limelight, and summer splash cardstock, and I'm adhering the colored letters on top of the stacked white letters in rainbow order. I did a bit of stamp surgery with my detail scissors to one of the sentiments from the Doggone Awesome stamp set, and I'm stamping that at the bottom of the ink blended area with some black licorice hybrid ink. Now I'm aligning the letter die cuts on my Smart Grid pad, and I'm using my T-ruler to help me. Once the letters are aligned, I'm going to grab some press and seal plastic wrap to hold the letters in place while I apply some strong liquid adhesive to the back. I love this press and seal idea and use it often, thanks to my sweet friend Lori Willison. That girl is a genius. Once I have the liquid adhesive on the back of the letters, I can use the excess press and seal to hover the letters over the area where I want them to land, and then press them into place and carefully pull the press and seal off. I told you that girl was a genius. Now I'm positioning the dog onto the image panel where I want him to stand, and I'm using a pencil to mark the circle opening onto the panel so that I can use the same circle die to die cut the marked opening. I've placed a foam square on the back of the dog image, and I'm adhering him in place, making sure to align both circles. Then I'll place the assembled pendulum lever on the back of the image panel and push the slider disc through the hole. Before I glue the dog's head to the slider disc, I want to make sure that the pendulum is hanging straight down. I'm using some strong liquid adhesive to adhere the dog's head to the slider disc, and I'll hold it in place with my thumb for a second or two to make sure it's good and stuck. And now I can adhere the frame to the image panel using some small foam squares. And if you've hung in with me up till now, give yourself a pat on the back. We're almost to the finish line. I die cut a balloon from some red heart pattern paper using the birthday balloon Die-namics. I adhered some white baker's twine for the string, and I'm adhering it to the image panel using a double layer of foam squares. I'm adding a small drop of liquid adhesive under the dog's snout, and I'm adhering the dog bone and the end of the balloon string there for a fun detail. The baker's twine has some slack to allow for the dog's head to move back and forth without interfering with the pendulum effect. I notice that when I tilt the card a little too much, the dog's head swings all the way around. So I placed a double layer of foam squares in a position to keep the lever from going too far either way. And now I can adhere the image panel to an A2 card base made from Limelight cardstock. And there you have it, a super fun pendulum card that's sure to warm the heart of any dog lover on his or her birthday. Thanks so much for watching my video today. Be sure and check out the other videos on the MFT YouTube channel for more great content. While you're there, why not subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a thing? And until next time, have a fabulous day.